and they'll be talking about how do you train your staff on Pure and what are the best practices for knowledge transfer. So take it away.
Great, thank you. And thanks everybody for coming today. I started on this road in 2014 with Lars on our implementation team. And so, as Milena said so wisely this morning, Pure has been built with little Legos along the way, all of these different pieces that have built on top of each other. And I was reflecting with one of my Pure colleagues in Chicago last year about how do we do a knowledge transfer from someone who has gone through this Pure instance, Pure process, relationships with people within the institution, people within Pure for the last more than 10 years. How do we do that knowledge transfer? And I said, would that be helpful to know that? And he said, yeah, absolutely. I don't have a plan, but I would like to make one. And I said, well, we've been working on this for the last 2 years, and maybe I'll submit an abstract next year. And so here I am. So I wanted to just share with you what our plan has been and how we really identified the players within Houston Methodist, and then how it has played out over the last 3 years. A little bit about Houston Methodist. We are in the world's largest medical center. Okay, Houston Methodist has 9 hospitals. We have over 35,000 employees. We started in 2014 with about 325 profiles, Pure profiles, and we now have over 900. Some are hidden, but most of them are full-time faculty, close to 900, and they produce about 2,000 research output every year. Our Pure instance is like a lot of little Legos put together. Thank you, Milena, for that visual. So Pure, thank you. I needed that levity, you know, to be able to laugh a little. Our Pure feeds into Houston Methodist Scholars. That's our public portal. And it's also highly integrated with our Houston Methodist website. And so, as I mentioned, we have 9 hospitals. And so all of the departments, we have the clinical side, we have the research institute, and I'll go more into that, but it's highly integrated with the website. We have internal syncs that feed into projects and persons. That's on the bottom left-hand quadrant of this image. We also have, of course, Scopus pushed in weekly, and then we also have PubMed available. Since we are a hospital, we have a lot of our publications that are in PubMed that may or may not be in Scopus. And then we also have some manual processes. We have prizes that are manually added. We have created our hierarchy manually. And so all of the research units and everything related to our hierarchy is manually created, and also our activities. We don't have the activities displayed on our portal, but we do use it very much for the faculty annual reviews. So we identified some important training pillars, technical skills, of course, what are the best practices and how to share that, and then also continued professional development. So where to begin? Well, we identified 2 staff members, Kirsten being the one person she's more responsible for the public-facing profiles, a lot of management of the metadata, and then also reporting. Those of you who might have met Nicole Stevens, she's on the strategic reporting team, and so she handles a lot of the technical side, working with the API with another team member. We also identified a very detailed task list with different contexts and next step, and that's my next slide, so I'll give you a little bit more detail on that. And then the team takes ownership of all of those responsibilities. So starting at the top left-hand side, the pure task was identified. So we've got these are all of my columns on my spreadsheet with all, and then there's about 75 to 80 tasks. So the pure task, and what is our data source, and who notifies us, or who owns that data, and what is the action item. Now, curving back on the bottom, the middle column, the action results, and how frequently does this task occur, what is needed to complete the task, do we need any external resources, and then what's the next step, and then identifying who's responsible, Kirsten or Nicole, what is the training status, where are they in their training, how long have they been trained, or the frequency of their training, and then they self-report what is their confidence, level of confidence with this particular task. Sounds like a lot of detail, right? A lot of minutia. But we just found if there's going to be this knowledge transfer, and I have other responsibilities, not just pure, if there's going to be this knowledge transfer, frequently every day someone will say, Colleen, do you know the backstory on this? What is the history of this? So what we're trying to just do is just a really serious knowledge transfer of everything that has gone on in Pure. Why was this organization created, but it doesn't display? You know, just all the nuances of working with Pure, and then how documenting it and let everybody know. All right, so we came up with a structured learning path. And so I'm not going to depend on notes at all. All of our slides are very detailed on what our process was that we followed. So if you have any questions, it really is within these slides. And I want to say I'm very happy to take any questions, if you guys have any questions at all. So within the structured learning path, as you can see, we first of all, focus on the foundational knowledge. We teach the database structure. We try to give the story of the institutional hierarchy. And we really depend on the hierarchy, not only for the Pure portal, but also for all of our reporting across the entire enterprise. So our hierarchy has really been, is really foundational to Pure. Integration of internal syncs, what are they and where do they come from and all of that. And then integration of external syncs, and then validating new instances. And then the next part of the structured learning path is hands-on practice, right? Kirsten and I are both types of learners that don't tell me, show me, and let me do it myself. So We do hands-on practice with profile development. We have a very standard title block format that everyone's 95% of the profiles are in that structure, and then our data sources of truth. Advanced topics within the structured learning path, teaching about reports. We do different audits based on data that has been manually or automatically synced in. What are classification schemes and how to build them? The administrator tab, what are jobs? What are the outcomes? What do they mean? How to report pure issues, validating new pure instances. So those are our advanced topics. All right, so then we get into the next level of our training plan, and that is mentorship and shadowing. And so she's paired with a pure administrator. That would be me. And so she observed my daily tasks. And I really did anyway, validate publications on a daily basis. Or any other data. A lot of people like to pull in their publications. They find out that a publication was accepted yesterday, they want it in their profile today. What does it mean to validate? How do you do that? When you have a research output, what is the difference between de-duplicating something or merging? What are the different use cases of doing each? Monitoring the jobs and troubleshooting, and then profile development. So, of course, there's gradual responsibilities. Somehow this slide got really, really small, or my eyes got really old. So, more of the mentoring and shadowing, developing new profiles, and the PRS. We get PRS 3 times a year. How do you ask for it? What kind of communication do you have with Judith, who manages all of that? And then how to update current guidance documents, and then creating new guidance documents, and Kirsten's in the process of creating the little video clips. Yeah. All right. And I think, Kirsten, you are on. She's going to, what did you learn about emphasizing pure profile best practices?
Oh, boy. There's your microphone. Oh, jeez. Okay. Thank you so much. Hi, everybody. Okay. So at Houston Methodist, profile management is one of the most visible and impactful areas of peer administration. Profiles support the public scholars portal, internal reporting, and faculty evaluation processes, so accuracy and consistency are critical. Our approach focuses on a few core practices that help keep the system reliable while also making it easier for faculty and administrators to interact with the platform. One of the first things we established was a consistent structure for title blocks and affiliations. Without that consistency, reporting becomes unreliable and faculty profiles can quickly diverge. We developed clear guidelines around title formatting, departmental affiliations, and how secondary appointments should appear in the system. This helps ensure the Scholars Portal displays accurate information and allows our reporting tools to pull reliable data. Another key component is the way we support faculty and administrative partners. We provide concierge-style onboarding for new faculty and training for proxies who help maintain profiles. We also support institutional processes like the Faculty Academic Activity Report. Because Pure Data feeds directly into that process, maintaining accurate profiles throughout the year reduces the burden during annual review cycles. Finally, we maintain guidance documents and standard workflows for reporting requests, which helps ensure consistency across departments. Colleen, back to you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so how do we keep track of all this stuff? All right. So the next thing to cover is the soft skills and collaboration. Just to go back to 2014, we were doing a lot of change management planning, and change is not usually is a difficult thing for people sometimes to accept. And so, and as Kirsten just mentioned, we have a concierge attitude. We have concierge service at our hospital, regardless of who you are. I won't go into the concierge service, but suffice it to say, we ordered about 500 coffee cups with a lot of word cloud on our coffee cup to represent all of our key research areas at Houston Methodist. And then I did some cold calling, and for anyone who's ever been in sales, you know how delightful that is. Just contacting people, letting them know you now have a new Pure profile, and I would love to sit with you for 30 minutes to show you what your web presence is going to be like on the Houston Methodist website. Well, it gets people's attention. So this was 2014, and for the next couple of years, I spent a lot of time with the faculty or their proxy, and they were just so delighted, first of all, to get a free coffee cup, and a nice one at that. But just to think that they have this web presence, I don't know, 10 years ago, 12 years ago, they weren't, it wasn't such a big deal. I think people were really just trying to understand the profiles and how they were all connected, and who are these collaborators that are represented, and how does the data get in there, and all of those kinds of questions. But for someone to sit down and say, you're important for the next 30 minutes, I want to be able to focus on your career. What does your CV say? How do you want that represented here in your profile? And building their biography, their research interests. They might have a scientific writer in their department that would craft all of those and send them to us. We have a professional creative services team that takes professional portraits for no charge at all, and they get uploaded to our website. So we just, those are all the soft skills that I had to transfer to my colleagues. I have all these relationships that I've built over the years, whether it's with the people who are at the keyboard, putting in the activities, or the chairs of the departments. And so all of that occurred, and then in 2020, we were all sent home. Keep in mind, we're a hospital, and there was a lot of COVID going on in the hospitals, and they said, please go home, set up your computer systems, your home office, and work from there. And here we are. How many years later, we still work remotely and are so thankful for that. And so, but the blessing of all of that, and I will always find it, is that now as in a virtual setting, we can hop on a Teams call and resolve things technologically much quicker than knocking on someone's door with a coffee cup and hoping they have time to meet. And I know I mentioned many times that we're in the world's largest medical center, so there's a lot of activity going on. So we have the collaboration with leadership and faculty, and our source of truth for all these appointments and promotions is faculty affairs. Thank you, Kirsten. Grants administration, funded research, that's what's pushed into the applications and the grants and the projects and clinical trials. IT web services provides the support. So these are all relationships and collaboration that I've built over the years, along with a lot of other folks, and just transferring those relationships and introductions it's been a lot of fun, but also, you know, there's just these are all the things that need to be part of a training. And so IT web services are the folks that connect the Houston Methodist website and all of its redirects to scholars, to Pure. And then academic technology is kind of our research institute support within the research institute. How are we doing on time? Okay. All right. Guidance documents. So I started building guidance documents from the very beginning. Kirsten has made a lot of them a lot more professional looking and with a lot of finesse, but they still need to be updated. And we have virtual meetings recorded so that people have a resource to go back to if they need any updates. We're building a micro-learning video library. We have Monday.com forms that people can complete to request services. And then, of course, continuous learning is the last level of training. And a big shout out to Elsevier. I'll just say that. Pat talked earlier today about the help center has it really improved, and it really has, and it's really been very, very helpful. That client community portal is really helpful. The Pure University certifications, is a great place for new people to become familiar with it. The Pure Roadmap, thank you very much, Milena, for Now, Next, and Exploring. I've watched a couple of yours recently. And then the webinars, the best practice webinars, those are also really great. And then being a user group member, in 2015, we had our first NAPUG Pure users group meeting at Northwestern. In fact, I met someone today who was working at the restaurant at the Tuesday night dinner, and it was just really nice to touch base with her and see a familiar face. We do a lot of knowledge sharing with the peer users group. I really encourage Kirsten. I know Nicole and Kirsten are part of the communications committee for NAPUG, and then also NAPUG leadership is an important part of learning about Pure. For Elsevier Impact Conference, I encourage them to attend, participate, submit an abstract, and cross-product knowledge sharing. So there we go. That's kind of in a summary of that has been our process for the last 3 years, to do some knowledge transfer and training. My takeaway we found it to be real helpful, at least working within a structure. Thank you so much. And really forcing me to truly take everything that's out of my head related to Pure and create SOPs that are long-standing, and people have really a 100-page book to refer to if they have any questions, whether it's about building users or linking profiles or managing the metadata. And we have customized so much of our instance that it's just important that people have a reference for that. And really being of service to our stakeholders, whether it's the research officers or the library, faculty affairs, administration. It's been a really great ride. It's really been a lot of fun. And I hope that the next generation of Pure administrators had as much fun as I have. So with that, I will close.